Well, no, the BPS is something that, in a sense, I've grown up with, because it was considered to be an absolutely a part of being a pharmacologist in all the departments I've ever been in. And so it was, you know, not a matter of if, but when would you become a member? When would you give your first, in those days you had to give at least one communication to become a member, and when would you do that? And in the department at the College of Surgeons, it was a big event because everybody who was up to give a paper would be drilled, and they would have to give a rehearsal, and people would ask the most unpleasant questions purposely, saying, okay, you've got to be ready for something way out from nowhere that you've never thought about before, and you've got to be able to handle it somehow. But what you mustn't do is to pretend it doesn't matter. If somebody asks you a question, you have to treat them seriously, even though you have to say, you know, that was a nice question, I mean, but I wish I knew the answer. I just have no idea. You can't say, oh, it doesn't matter, because it's rude and it's not scientific. The rehearsals, and the rehearsals were absolutely important, intrinsic part of the whole business. But training in pharmacology was not just doing the experiment, it was communication. You had to get to communicate, you had to tell people about your results in an understandable way, and then handle the questions in a sensible way. Too often I felt other people would react almost with hostility to a question. You asked them a question and they seemed to believe it had some ulterior motive, when certainly for me very often in the matter of sheer ignorance of the subject. In the department of the College of Surgeons, we had this very strong tradition of having foreign postdocs, and you know, Sergio Ferreira, Salvador Mancada, Arnold Herman, and Americans also, of course, but none of them were familiar with the particular experience of giving a paper to the PharmSoc. And of course, for those whose native tongue was not English, this was a double problem. And so we used to rehearse not just what you said, but how you said it, and all that sort of stuff. And it was a very serious, undertaking, and a lot of time and effort and preparation went into producing a communication for the BPS. And later on, of course, when you were a little bit better at it, you would start asking questions about other people, you know, about how they were doing their work, what's happening, what would happen if have you tried this, have you tried the other, and so it was. I remember Sergio Ferreira was very much involved in going to meetings, giving papers, participating in the questions, and of course in the bar afterwards, where so much good pharmacology is done and planned and discussed. This was the place that, I mean, BPS meetings were immensely valuable in talking about problems, getting ideas from people, and everybody would put their tuppence worth in. And you did it. It was an important part of your science. It was an important part of your science. It wasn't an add-on. It was an important part of the science that you were doing.